Part 17 of the Military Journals of Two Private Soldiers, 1758 to 1775. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by F&H. The Military Journals of Two Private Soldiers, 1758 to 1775, by Abraham Tomlinson. Part 17. The 18. Nothing strange this day. The 19. This day we heard that our men had taken a ship loaded with gunpowder. The truth of it we have not yet learned, but we hope it will prove true. Several of the prizes captured by Manley and others contained powder and arms, and late in December Colonel, afterward General, Knox arrived from Ticonderoga with 42 sled-loads of cannons, mortars, lead, balls, flints, etc. By the close of January powder became quite plentiful in the American camp. The 20. Nothing remarkable this day. The 21. Ditto. The 22. Nothing strange. The 23. Nothing remarkable. The 24. This day Captain Pond came from Wrentham. Nothing remarkable. The 25. Nothing remarkable this day. The 26. Nothing very remarkable. The 27. Nothing remarkable this day. The 28. Nothing remarkable. The 29. This day we moved to Dorchester, into the Widow Bird's house. The 30. Nothing strange this day. The 31. Ditto. February. The 1. This day, nothing remarkable. The 2. Ditto. The 3. Nothing remarkable this day. The 4. Ditto. The 5. The lobsters came out almost to Copple Hill, and took 3 cows and killed them, and were fired upon from Copple Hill, and they were obliged to make of leaving their booty behind them. The 6. The militiamen marched from Wrentham, and arrived in camp at Dorchester. The 7. Nothing very remarkable this day. The 8. There was a number of our men went a skating on the bay near Boston Common, and the enemy fired upwards of 100 small arms that did no damage. The 9. Nothing very remarkable. At night there was 3 of our American boys made their escape from the enemy in Boston, and were taken up by our men who were patrolling on Dorchester Point too, and they brought of things to considerable value. The 10. Nothing strange this day. Here the journal ends abruptly, and we have no clue to the writer afterward. As he had enlisted for the campaign of 1776, he doubtless remained with the army until the expulsion of the British from Boston in March following, unless he was killed in some of the skirmishes that frequently occurred, or was obliged to leave the army on account of sickness. Whatever was his fate, the veil of oblivion is drawn over it, for he was one of the thousands who, with warm hearts and stout hands, struggled in the field for the liberties of their country, lie in unhonored graves, and have no biographers. If he lived until the conflict ended, and died in his native town, no doubt his grave is in the old churchyard at Wrentham. His family was among the earliest settlers there, for Daniel Hawes was a resident of the village when it was burnt, in the time of King Philip's War, almost 200 years ago, and on a plain slab in that old burial place is the name of Ebenezer Hawes, who died in 1812 at the age of 91 years. Supplement, containing official papers of the skirmishes at Lexington and Concord, and a list of Revolutionary articles in the Poughkeepsie Museum. Supplement, official papers concerning the skirmishes at Lexington and Concord. In the preceding journal of a soldier in 1775, his narrative commences on the day of the skirmishes at Lexington and Concord, the opening conflicts of the Revolution. Some official matters relating to those events, which are inaccessible to the general reading public, will doubtless be acceptable, as they certainly are appropriate in this connection. The skirmishes occurred on the 19th of April, 1775. On the 22nd, the Provincial Congress of Massachusetts assembled, and deeming it important to have the whole truth known, appointed a committee to take depositions in relation to the transactions of the British troops in their route to and from Concord. Another committee was appointed the following day, consisting of Dr. Church, Elbridge Gerry, and Thomas Cushing to draw up a narrative of the massacre. The committee to take depositions held their sessions at Concord and Lexington on the 23rd and 25th of April. Feeling it to be expedient to send an account immediately to England, a committee, consisting of Dr. Warren, Mr. Freeman, Mr. Gardner, and Colonel Stone, was chosen to prepare a letter to Dr. Franklin, the colonial agent in London. They reported a letter, and also an address to the inhabitants of Great Britain, on the same day. Captain Richard Darby, of Salem, was employed to proceed immediately with the dispatches. He placed them in the hands of Dr. Franklin on the 29th of May, and on the following day the address was printed and circulated. It gave the first intelligence of the skirmishes at Lexington and Concord to the British public. The following, copied from the journals of the Continental Congress, are the several papers referred to. To the Honorable Benjamin Franklin, Esquire, at London, in Provincial Congress, Watertown, April 26, 1775. Sir, from the entire confidence we repose in your faithfulness and abilities, we consider it the happiness of this colony that the important trust of agency for it, in this day of unequalled distress, is devoted on your hands, and we doubt not your attachment to the cause and liberties of mankind will make every possible exertion in our behalf a pleasure to you. Although our circumstances will compel us often to interrupt your repose, by matters that will surely give you a pain, a singular instance hereof is the occasion of the present letter. The contents of this packet will be our apology for troubling you with it. From these you will see how, and by whom, we are at last plunged into the horrors of a most unnatural war. Our enemies, we are told, have dispatched to Great Britain a fallacious account of the tragedy they have begun, to prevent the operation of which to the public injury we have engaged the vessel that conveys this to you, as a packet in the service of this colony, and we request your assistance in supplying Captain Darby, who commands her, with such necessaries as he shall want, on the credit of your constituents in Massachusetts Bay. But we most ardently wish that the several papers herewith enclosed may be immediately printed and dispersed through every town in England, and especially communicated to the Lord Mayor, Aldermen, and Council of the City of London, and that they may take such an order thereon as they may think proper. And we are confident your fidelity will make such an improvement of them as shall convince all who are not determined to be in everlasting blindness that it is the united efforts of both Englands that can save either, but that whatever price our brethren in the one may be pleased to put on their constitutional liberties, we are authorized to assure you that the inhabitants of the other, with the greatest unanimity, are inflexibly resolved to sell theirs only at the price of their lives. Signed by the order of the Provincial Congress, Joseph Warren, President, P.T. A true copy from the original minutes, Samuel Freeman, Secretary, P.T. The depositions relative to the commencement of hostilities are as follows. Lexington, April 25th, 1775. We, Solomon Brown, Jonathan Loring, and Elijah Sanderson, all of lawful age, and of Lexington, in the county of Middlesex and colony of Massachusetts Bay in New England, do testify and declare that on the evening of the 18th of April instant, being on the road between Concord and Lexington, and all of us mounted on horses, we were about 10 of the clock suddenly surprised by 9 persons, whom we took to be regular officers, who rode up to us, mounted and armed, each having a pistol in his hand, and after putting pistols to our breasts and seizing the bridles of our horses, they swore if we stirred another step, we should be all dead men, upon which we all surrendered ourselves. They detained us until 2 o'clock of the next morning, in which time they searched and greatly abused us, having first inquired about the magazine at Concord, whether any guards were posted there, and whether the bridges were up, and said 4 or 5 regiments of regulars would be in possession of the stores soon. They then brought us back to Lexington, cut the horses' bridles and girths, turned them loose, and left us. Solomon Brown, Jonathan Loring, Elijah Sanderson. End of Part 17. Recording by FNH. Please visit www.bookranger.co.uk.